Great, and then we're gonna play our song. Thanks for the recommendation. All right, here we go.
Open up your eyes, take a look at me. Get the picture fixed in your memory. I'm driven by the rhythm like the beat of a heart. And I won't stop until I start to stand out, to stand out. Some people settle for the typical thing, living all their lives waiting in the wings. It ain't a question of if, just a matter of time before I move to the front of the line. Once you're watching every move that I make, you gotta believe that I got what it takes to stand out above the crowd. Even if I gotta shout out loud, tomorrow is the only face that you see. Gonna stand out so you notice me. If the sticky wheels always getting the grease, I'm totally devoted to disturbing the peace. And I'll do it all again when I get it done, until I become your number one. No method to the madness and no means of escape. Gonna break every rule or bend them all out of shape. It ain't a question of how, just a matter of when. You get the message that I'm trying to send. I'm under a spell, I'm in over my head, and you know I'm going all of the way to the end. To stand out above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud. Tomorrow is the only face that you see. Gonna stand out till you notice me. If I could make you stop and take a look at me instead of just there's nothing that I wouldn't do if it was getting you to notice. All I need is half a chance, a second thought, a second glance of proof. I got whatever it takes. It's a piece of cake to stand out above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud. Tomorrow is the only face you see. Gonna stand out, hey, stand out, yeah, 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 stand out. Tomorrow is the only face you see. Gonna stand out till you notice me.
Amazing, amazing. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for your participation in the chat with our opening question. And thank you, special shout out to Latoya for that awesome song. Definitely makes me want to rewatch that movie. It's been a while for me. I love Disney movies as well. So thank you so much, Latoya. That was perfect. All right, so if you're just joining, our opening question is, what will be the output of the following Python code? So we have our, first of all, type in the chat, what type of, or what complex data type is D1 and D2? Love that, Latoya. Yeah, that does have to do with keys, right? But this is a dictionary, right? Another way to look at it in JavaScript. What's the JavaScript equivalent of a dictionary? Anyone know? What do we call it in JavaScript? That's right, we call it an object. So we have our key value pairs like Joe typed in the chat, right? So we have our dictionary D1, which has a key or has two key values of A and B. We have our dictionary D2, which has values or keys of B and C. And then we have this dot update. So what is this third line of code doing? What is this third line of code doing? We have D1, then we have a dot notation update D2. So what do you guys think it's doing? Feel free to type in the chat, or if someone wants to come off mute, say it aloud. Yeah, that's right, Joey C. Very good. It's deleting or replacing essentially or updating. It still says updating D1 with D2. Absolutely. Latoya says updating D1 information to be at D2. Amazing. So then we have this fourth line of code. So what is the fourth line of code doing? Yeah, it's printing the B from the new D1, which, as everyone said in the chat, would be number 3. So question for you all. What would the new D1 have? Type in the chat. How many keys or what keys would the new D1 have? What keys would the new D1 have if we're updating it with D2? Ooh, okay. What do you guys think? Do you think it will also have A? Yes or no? Oh, okay. We have a guess for A, B, C. Okay, well let's do this. Let's see how it works. So I think I actually had this in here already. Yeah, I had this in here already, ready to go. So before we do this with this, or before we just type in the key B1, or for B, sorry, excuse me, I cannot talk today. We're gonna just output D1. So let's see what we find out. Got some great guesses in the chat. So some folks are saying, hey, it's just gonna have B and C. And some folks are saying, hey, it will also have A. So what did we find out? Did it keep the A, yes or no? Yeah, I did. So, dot update is really helpful because you can merge or modify elements in dictionaries, right? And it will insert the new ones, but also keep the old ones. So here is the W3 schools update method, so you can check it out for yourself. And it can also be used to add in a specified item, which is what we went over yesterday, but we did it a different way. And that's totally fine. So remember, there's always multiple ways of doing this. But if you needed to join them, right, and you wanted to make sure it updated values that are already there, we saw that with the B's, but it's also going to keep the A's and the C's. So, great job, everyone. Great job with tracing your code. So wonderful. So I know some folks are here tonight who weren't here last night, so no worries. We're actually going to do a review. Welcome back, everyone. That's what we're doing right now. We are going to do a review of conditionals and dictionaries. I'm actually going to give you two different scenarios. I want you guys to think about it from an engineering standpoint. So I want you to think that you are not your users, and I want you to think about who's going to be using your product and really how to make it your own. So I'll give you quite a bit of time for you to talk through the two separate challenges, but really think about how you can make it your own. All right, and then would love for groups to share. We'll of course take our 10-minute break. We'll spend our next chunk of time on iteration. There's so many different ways for us to iterate, not just in Python, but in any language or like loop through. So if iteration is new to you, can you type new in the chat if this is new to you? Type new if iteration is new to you. Okay, that is helpful because I know some folks have familiarity with it. It's all new to me. Okay, awesome. So we'll spend quite a chunk of time. We'll probably bleed into this last little section, but this last little section we'll just talk about built-in methods. We'll talk about problem solving. We'll talk about dictionary literals. So that's when we're actually going to get into talking about the quiz we talked about yesterday. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a challenge to use your knowledge of dictionaries and then this newfound knowledge of iteration and see if you can make your own multiple choice quiz. So we'll end with scope. So I mentioned it a little bit yesterday, but there's different scopes of like code blocks, right? So there's global, local, and there's even block scope. So we'll talk about those just really briefly, and then we'll work on ending. And we'll be done for the week. We're done with week 2. Give yourself a pat on the back. You guys have been doing an amazing job. And for my friends who weren't here yesterday, we did talk about more Kahoots, So on Monday, we are going to review this content as well as the content from yesterday and Monday itself with a Kahoot, and then we'll do a final Kahoot on Thursday. So Itzel is our reigning champion. Let's see if she can defend her title or if we'll have a new Kahoot champion. So definitely practice, get ready, because it's based on speed and knowledge. So yeah, fun things to come for our final week. Okay, so let's do a quick review of dictionaries and conditionals. I know some folks weren't able to make it yesterday, so just want to make sure you have what you need. Feel free to take a screenshot so you have it up on your computer. I'm going to give you quite a bit of time to work in groups. So if you were someone who wasn't here yesterday, don't sweat it, right? See what you can contribute with your group and take some time to review. Maybe like type in some like dictionaries, get used to it. And I'll also give you this compiler that has some to tinker around with, okay? So let's do a quick review of our dictionary syntax, okay? So as we know, we have our complex data structure that is comma separated by the keys and values. So remember, our keys are wrapped in either single or double quotation marks. We have a colon in between, and then we have whatever the data type is. So this is what the format is. So what type of brackets do we use for dictionaries? What type of brackets do we use, or braces? Yeah, we use those curly braces. That's right. So that's what's going to set them apart from lists, which is what we went over on Monday, right? So we always start off with our curly braces, and then we can choose whatever keys we want, values we want. Let's say we're storing employee data, right? So we can do the name of our employee, who's Ruthie Cohen, her title is a cashier, and her salary, which is 50,000. All right, so unlike list, we don't keep track of indexes. We don't care about the order. I could have name all the way down here, right? We access it by calling upon the key, which gives us the value, right? And that's what we did in this opening one, right? So if we wanted to call upon the key B, right, we would just use our square brackets. We would wrap our key in quotation marks, all right? And then that would just output the value. So the updated value here is going to be 3. Okay, so 1 to 5, where are you guys at with dictionaries after we worked with them yesterday? If you're new, let me know what questions you have, but this is the overall structure. So we can decide on the key name, we can decide on what the data type's storing, and then we can even like update, right? So we saw with the dot update today, we saw that there's just multiple ways for us to work with dictionaries. And so you guys are going to have quite a bit of time to practice this as a group. Okay, so 3.5, 3.94. Alrighty. Okay, okay, okay. All right, so let's get into now conditional logic. So this is when you want to control how a computer goes through your program, right? This is control flow. So our example that we went over for our opening question is you can have multiple if statements, right? They will evaluate because code compiles from top to bottom, right? But the main form we usually work with is if else or else if, right? So if A is equal to B, if that is true, then whatever is indented underneath it will run, right? That is going to be within that block scope. All right, so again, this evaluates to either true or false. We can then have if else statements, right? So let's say we have one condition, right? If A is equal to B. Let's say if my password is equal to the password I stored in the program, then allow me to log in. Else, pop up an error message. Hey, your username and your password is not correct. Try again. We don't want to say whether username or password is not correct because if someone's trying to like brute force hack us, we don't want to tell them that they got the right username but the wrong password. So we would say if your username or password is not correct. So at least they can get a message like, hey, this is why it's not working. And then let's say we have multiple conditions, right? So if A is equal to B, That's true. Do something. All right. If this is false, it's not going to do the indented, right? It's going to pass over it. Elif is what we use. Type in the chat. What is the syntax for JavaScript, if you know, if you remember? So elif is what we use in Python. What's equivalent to elif in JavaScript? That's right. Else if. That's right. So we have else if or elif in Python. A is greater than B. If this is true, then we're going to do something here. If this is also false, then these two are not going to run. And remember, else is the catch-all, right? Everything above is false, so else run this. Give the user an error message. Tell the user like, hey, try typing again. So we want to think about like how we can help guide our user as they're working on our platform, as they're trying to log in. We really want to make sure that they're able to have a good user experience, right? Because if we don't give them an error message, they might just be like, I'm typing in my password, nothing's popping up, but it's not letting me in. They might think that there's an error. Okay, same thing, temperature check with conditionals from last night. Where are you guys at? 1 to 5. Quick little temperature check. Where are you at? 3.7. I love the specified decimals. Okay, a lot of 4s, 3.1, 3s. Okay. Yeah, way to use that float. Love it. All right, thank you. A 4 and a 3. Awesome. Okay, so let me get to your challenge. I'm actually going to give you about like 30 minutes in the breakout rooms. If you guys need longer, let me know. Take your time and please do not rush through this. Please think about like what else you could add. But I'm going to give you 2 challenges. So, toddler, toys, and restaurant records. Okay, so your first challenge is you are the head of a daycare center that is teaching preschoolers the sounds that animals make. All right, so what I would like for you guys to do as part of your group challenge is I want you to create a dictionary named animals. You can use some of the following key value pairs. Please add more, right? Because there's a lot of animals these kids are learning. But when the user clicks on or types in dog, they should get bark. When it's cat, meows, cow moos, pig oink, horse neigh, right? So create that dictionary, feel confident in your dictionary. Maybe I suggest that I'll put you between like 3 to 4 folks. Let's see how many folks are logged in today. We have 19. I know some folks are driving home, so no worries. So I'll probably put you guys into like roughly groups of 3 to 4 and like hopefully you guys can work through this together again. No rush. Ask the user to enter in an animal. If you don't feel confident with that, you can always just like have it already pre-coded. That's totally fine. But get comfortable with the user taking input like you guys did last night. And then if the animal is in the dictionary, oops, sorry, print the sound it makes. So you want to be able to access the key and then output the value. Otherwise, you should have it print animal not found. So basically what you guys need to figure out is figure out how to do the dictionary part and then figure out how to do the input and then taking that input and using a conditional to access what's in the dictionary. All right, so again, you'll have like 30 plus minutes, take your time. Now, the next challenge that you guys will work on, you are restaurant owners, you're a restaurant manager. And as we know with inflation, prices are changing with materials, right? So you want to create an online chat bot so your users can access those up-to-date menu prices. So please add more food items. Here's just a couple of them. So burgers right now are $8.99, pizza's $12.50, salads $6.75, soda's $2. All right, and what data type is this? Type in the chat. What data type has those beautiful decimals? Close. Remember, int is going to be your whole numbers. Yes, that's right, floats. So we have our decimals as floats. And then, just like you did for the other one, add that input if you can. So remember, if they're typing in that input, right, they might say burger. You want to make sure you can access that float value. If the item exists, print its price. Otherwise, just say item not on the menu. Yes. Okay. So Alice put up a great point. So remember, you might want to do dot lower to do lowercase and dot strip to get rid of what? What would you use dot strip for? Yeah, spaces. That's right. So you don't want the user to run into any errors of spaces because when we think about it, right, we go to so many different websites. We're having a problem. Sometimes, like us as a user, we might just be like, oh, I need to click out of this. And if you're running like a website like a business, you don't want your user to click out of it before ordering. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I'll post it in Slack for you guys. Feel free to take a screenshot of this now if you are not able to access Slack. Any questions on this? Can you type in set if you guys are set so I know that you're good? All right, Mario, thanks for dropping your code. I'll take a look at it. So I'm going to give you guys until 55 past the hour. So you guys have a little bit over 30 minutes. We'll come back, watch for some groups to share, and then we'll take our first break. Set on the ask. Okay, wonderful. So setting up breakout rooms now. And let's do 5. Yeah, we're gonna do 5. All right, so setting up breakout rooms. Yes, Latoya, you do have 2. Okay, hold on, Latoya. Let me move your other one to room 3. All right, so everyone should have at least 3 people. Yeah, most rooms have 3 people. So hopefully, at least one person will be, or 2 people will be able to work together. If somebody is driving, they can just like listen in. Um, okay, wonderful. I'm opening up the rooms now. Have fun, everybody. I'll circle around soon. I'll give you an announcement before I do. Have fun. Oh, Daniel. Okay, hold on, Daniel. Let me assign you a room. Daniel, I'm going to assign you to group 1. And then Jason, I know that you're usually heading back. Actually, hold on. Let me pause the recording. And so welcome. Hopefully that was not too tricky for you guys. I know it is a little difficult like putting all of those things together, but hopefully you were able to make some progress working in your groups. Would love for a few folks to share, but before we do that, um, I probably should have reviewed on this as well. But one way to check if keys exist in dictionaries is to use the in keyword. I think we briefly mentioned it yesterday. So that was totally my bad if you kind of got stuck on this part with the conditional. But you can do this by using this syntax. So you can say if whatever exists in, so you use the in keyword in this dictionary. So you could take the user input, right? So you could do this, and this is what we were talking about in one of the groups. So we could say animal, right? And we could take in the user input and we can say if this animal exists in animals, then output the animal, right? And output the value, like the sound that it makes. So I'm going to drop this in the chat. If you're still tinkering around with that, no worries, but would love for 2 people to share the code that they worked on, even if it's not complete, even if it's not perfect. Would just love to see what folks were able to do. So do I have any volunteers who would like to share? And feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to share or say me in the chat. Oh, Nick's gonna share. Okay, amazing. Do I have one other person who would like to share? Okay, Alice, you have been nominated. Would you like to share as well, Alice? Say what? Well, okay. All right. So Nick's gonna share and then Alice. So wonderful. So I'll stop sharing my screen. Nick, you have the floor.
All right, I'm actually excited to share because this is the first time that like I actually got this correct. Let me see. Like on the first go. All right. Let me know when everyone can see my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Okay, perfect. There we go. All right. So, um, pretty simple. I'm super excited about this because I was not here at our last class, unfortunately, but I was able to put it together. I didn't do exactly what the prompt asked me to do, but I was able to create the dictionary using the variables, animals, dog, barks, etc. And then also went back a couple of days to make sure I had the right syntax for the user, animal, and the input, and then used the if and else and end statement for our Boolean logic to make sure that the animals were actually in it. And then if the person did put in a wrong animal, then I just put in a little throwback to what is that? Home Alone, right? Wrong animal, you filthy animal. So that was where that came from. I know it's a little corny. I'm kind of dating myself. And then same thing for the menu and the burger. I did have an issue, like a few syntax errors putting this together. My burger quotation mark, I forgot to like in quotation, and like a couple other things, which like threw errors. But everything that I got wrong was mostly around syntax errors, forgetting a quote here and there, not putting like a hyphen somewhere or like whatever this one is here. And then same thing, I used kind of like my own custom print for the end. I said, hey, we don't have that for the menu. We don't have that. What do you think this is? Error one, right? I just thought it was kind of fun just to kind of do something different. But yeah, it was pretty straightforward. After I got animals, I literally like just kind of copy pasted the format from animals and did it for menu and just kind of replaced uh, the uh, the different menu items and just replace the text. But yeah, I was excited because I was able to do it for the first time without any help. so so yeah, that's it.
Oh my goodness, amazing. And I love how you made it your own by being like, wrong animal, you filthy animal, and referencing hair one. So I love that. And your code looks great. And I love that you put all this together, Nick. That's super, super awesome. So let's give him some great reactions, everybody. This was great. Love seeing what you guys were able to do. And great job working together, y'all. So awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. That was perfect. All right. Next up, we have Miss Alice. So Alice, take it away.
You're muted, Alice.
Thank you. Um, I made it a little bit bigger so people can see it better. I hope it's right. Um, we have the first problem is create a dictionary name animals with some of the following key value pairs. Ask the user to enter an animal. If animal is in the dictionary, print the sound it makes. Otherwise, print animal not found. And I guess we're supposed to make an if statement with a for loop or something. So we added some extra animals to the dictionary, and we took animal and asked the user to input an animal that's a string, and we made it not be case sensitive. And then we stripped like if they messed up on spaces or something, that we took the spaces out. For key and animals, if the key is equal to animals, then print the animals, the key, or else animal not found. And then I'll just run this one. Let's see, cat. And then I'm gonna run it again. I'm gonna choose something that's not on the list. I'm gonna say car, animal not found. And then the second problem is create a dictionary name menu with these items and prices and add more. We ask the user to enter in a menu item. If the item exists, print the price. Otherwise, print item not available. I was wondering about this one because this one is probably case sensitive because I didn't use a lower this time. So I'm gonna try to see if I can mess with the spaces or something to see if it throws an error. It's basically the same thing. I just replaced item with animal. That's basically. Let me go ahead and run it. I'm gonna say burger, and then gives me the price. I'm gonna run it again, and this time I'm just gonna make something up. It says item not available. And I'm gonna try it again with putting spaces and see if that messes anything up. And I'm gonna make it capitalized. No, it didn't mess up. That's pretty much it.
Amazing, Alice. And I love how you utilize loops, which we're actually gonna get into next after the break.
I'm
Um,
sorry, Megan. I was laughing at you. I saw you snapping your fingers in the screen. I couldn't help myself.
oh, I'm so sorry. That's like the teacher in
I,
me.
I,
Like,
I saw. I saw it. I saw it.
I'm so sorry because I taught middle schoolers, so you can imagine if I'm like claps everybody, I'm gonna have those. Usually it was like my like extroverted students that clap so loud. So I'm like, okay, snaps everyone. So love it. So let's definitely give Alice some reactions. Um that was like super, super awesome and loved how you both approached it differently, right? So, I love the consideration and I love the curiosity. So keep being curious about your code, keep trying things out. I love that you guys are doing that and thinking about like, oh, like I could try like dot title. Let me try it like doing like dot strip and dot lower. So love that curiosity. Never lose that. All right, so we're gonna take a well-deserved break. So we'll take a 12-minute break. I'll see you when we get back. So it'll be 30 past the hour, and then we'll get into iterations and loops. So see you when you get back. Me recording, thank you for that, lifesaver. Um, okay, so guess what, everybody? We have gone through primitive data types. We've gone through complex data types. So we did arrays and lists, arrays in JavaScript, lists in Python, right? Objects in JavaScript, dictionaries in Python, right? We went through all of this. We're in logical operators with our conditionals, which you guys went over. And now we're on iterable data structures and going over different loops. So we're going to go and focus on this tonight. Don't worry, we will do a review on Monday, but look at this. All you guys have left after loops for last week is we're going to do quite a bit of solving algorithms. So it's going to be a lot of practice, like working together, a lot of review. So if there's any topics that you kind of feel iffy about at the end of this sixth session, again, we have three more, and we can really make sure we iron those out. And for my friends who want to stay challenged, definitely check out the solving algorithms and then, yeah, just wrapping this up as best as you can, but there's like a bunch of different um, challenges that you can try. So we'll put all that together and we'll have fun with it. So we are in logical operations and we're going to get into the next main chunk, which is iterations. So I'm going to drop this in the chat. And so for my friends who said like, hey, this is new, let's kind of go over the concept first before we look at the nitty-gritty of like the code and the syntax, all right? And we've seen a little bit already. So thank you, Alice, and your group for sharing your code and showing us an example of a loop, but let's first understand kind of the process, right? So what's really nice about iteration is we can think about automation, right? We can think about repeating for a collection the same process again and again. So of course came up with like teacher grading papers, right? So if a teacher needs to grade papers, right, this is our scenario. The collection would be all papers, right? So maybe we have a list of all of our papers, or we store it in a dictionary of the student's name and the grade they get on the paper. And so for each paper, all right, in that collection, we want to do the following, right? We want to read through it, we want to mark a score on the top, and then we want to record the score in the grade book so we can keep track. Then we're going to repeat the same process, but for the next student. So loops can help us iterate through or step through each of the elements or each of the keys, each of the values, and check for something, do the same task for something if we're like trying to automate and like output everything. And so iteration is very important for being able to loop through an entire collection and do something, right? So I want you to think about that when you think about for loops, right? We can make our code more efficient. So loops can execute whatever block of code certain number of times, all right? As long as the condition is true, and that's what I really want you to focus on. When our condition is true, the block of code will continue to execute. When it becomes false, it's done. It breaks. All right, let's look at two main formats we see in Python, right? There are different ones, like for example, there's a for each in JavaScript. All right, we're going to focus on while and we're going to focus on for. Mainly, we're going to focus on for tonight, but we'll work in while probably on Monday. So we can do one at a time, but you'll see this while loop kind of down here. So we're kind of going to focus on for loops first, and then we'll get into while. So don't think that we're going to neglect while. We'll come back to it. So how does it work? We can say while format. So think while this is true, this is what we're going to do. So can anyone walk me through what's happening in this block of code here on the bottom of this while example? So we have our condition while a is less than 100, and then we have this line of code. So what's the purpose? What are we doing with this line of code? Yeah, that's right. We're adding 1 to what variable? A, that's right. And we're also printing out. So let's actually try this. All right, let's type it in just as it is. So I'm going to go back to JDoodle. It will let me. Sorry, oh, that's why I was like, why is it not clicking? Because I was in my annotations. That's why. All right, so let's actually do that. So, oops, for some reason I started a new one. Hold on. La 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 la. Where's my projects? I guess go to dashboard, projects. All right, here we go. So I'm going to do this here. I'm going to call it iterations, and let's do this. So let's do our example for while loop. So we set a to 0, and we can say while a is less than 100. And notice that the syntax here is very similar to if statements, right? We just have our condition and then we have our colon, right? So we're going to do print, and then we can do some, we'll see here, a is, and then we can do comma a, whatever the number is. So a is boom, comma a. And then what else do we want to do? Type it in the chat. What are we going to do after each loop? Yes, that's right, Mark. As long as a is less than 100, then add 1 and keep going. Yeah, so we can, so there's more than one way to increment. So you could do a is equal to a plus 1. You could do plus equals 1. And then I think there's another way. I think I don't know if this works in Python, but I know you can do plus plus. I think that might be Java though. But yeah, plus equal 1. And so when we do that, let's see what outputs. Okay, so we have this very long list. A is 0, A is 1, 2, 3, and then we get to 99. So it won't do 100 because we said, hey, as long as it's less than 100, then run. So as soon as this reaches 100, then it's not going to do it. Okay? Now, order does matter. What do you think would happen if I did this? What do you think is going to output if I switch the plus 1 equals and I have the print? What number do you think it's going to start at? Yes, Alice, we will go over and enumerate. And then which number do you think it's going to end at? So it's going to start at 1. Oh, okay, we have some guesses for 99. Okay, let's see. So let's run it. So my friends, you're right that it starts at 1. But in this case, we got to 100. How did we get to 100? Shouldn't have broken? Well, what did it come in as? It came in as 99. We added 1 and then we printed it out. So yeah, it definitely won't run after that, but it came in as 99. So just keep that in mind that your incrementer and what you're printing, the order is going to shift, right? Because you want to keep in mind, all right, this comes in at 0, but we add 1 and then we print it out. So that's why we started at 1. Comes in at 99, we add 1, we get to 100. All right, so we want to think about those things when we're trying to like output, right? Maybe we don't want 0 to 99, we wanted 1 to 100. Switching up the order can help. All right, so that's just kind of how the while loops work. All right, so while it's true, it's going to execute until it's not. Now for the for loops, all right, we have an initialize variable counter. So we can name this whatever we want, right? So like we saw in Alex's example that she shared for the challenge earlier, you could name it animal, you could name it item, whatever you want, right? So we can say, hey, we can say, I don't know, we can say for I in range, we can do 2, right? We can execute this code, right? So, we also can use this for lists and dictionaries and use it for conditionals. So let's actually see that. So again, we're going to focus on for, but know that you can use different run condition links to help you be able to know like, hey, how long am I going to do this until it finally breaks? All right, so let's go over just quickly some other types of loops that we will see. So we do have some for in loops, so that's for dictionaries, and that's what we're going to work on today, as well as items in a list, right? So we have our dictionary here. We have 1, 2, 3, and we're just doing the what is that called? Military naming convention. So Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. And so we can say for key in this dictionary 1, so dic 1, we can go through the keys, right? And we could either get the value by calling like dictionary 1 and then the key, or we can get the key itself, right? So let's actually try that out. All right, so we'll do this down here and we'll say for keys in dictionary. So we have dictionary 1. Oops. Always start with those curly brackets. And so what is 1? 1 is alpha, right? So 1 is alpha. We have 2 as Bravo. 3 as Charlie, right? Okay. So let's do this, right? So for key in dictionary 1, let's just print it out. So for again, we can name this whatever we want, like. So for key in dictionary 1. All right, we can just print out the key. So let's run it. And there we go. We have 1, 2, and 3. I'm actually going to comment out that while loop so it doesn't take up my whole screen. But yeah, we can see that we can print that out. Now, what do I do if I want to print out the value? I want to print out Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. What would that look like? Okay, I could do item. That's right. Excellent. All right, so I could do items. I could also just do dic1, and then I could just do key as well, which is what you guys learned about as well. We're definitely going to see item though. And so we can see we have Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. All right, 1 to 5, where are you guys at with understanding how the while loop works and understanding for the for loop? We can use for. Again, key can be whatever I want to name it. I can name it like for num in dictionary. So just know that that's not a set naming convention. That's a parameter that you decide. So see how it does the same thing? So sometimes when students are learning this at first, they think like, wait, hold on, like what do I do? You can name it item to, yeah, this would have been good yesterday's try. Yes, it would have. But we learn one little bit at a time. So now you're finding ways to make your code more efficient. Nick, I see your hand raised. Go for it.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
I understand it, and I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit. However, if there's like how would we do it if we wanted to like ask someone a question, right? Like how we've done previously, where it's like, hey, grocery, items in a store, right? And we have that list, or we have like that list. When I say list, I really mean like dictionary, right? And we have like one, two, three, or right, like how we combine this with asking a question and then associating that back to the for statement.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I love that. Yeah, we can, a lot of folks are saying input, right? So let's try that out, right? So we could do, I don't know, we could do value is equal to, and then we can just say,
Well, what I'm saying is it would just be the same way that we've been using input, like we would just use like input with the same way we did it in the previous examples.
exactly. And then
Okay.
would use the condition to check. So if it's in, and then output the value.
Got it. Okay.
I love that those questions. Please keep asking those and please keep making those connections. I love those. So yeah. And then Alice actually, oh, sorry, Mark typed it in the chat. Amazing. Yeah. So that's a great way to go about it. So there's so many different ways. And as you guys are curious and asking those great questions like Nick just asked, like keep thinking about those things and how you can combine all those things together. So great question. Awesome. So let us take a look at this one over here. So again, we can also do this for list, right? So we can start at like for item in list. Remember, we're dealing with order there, but it's going to go through. So wonderful. Let's go through a couple of, yes, you can have multiple dictionaries. I was hoping we would probably get to the quizzes, but we might have to say that till Monday. But yes, you can do multiple dictionaries, and we'll go through that as an example on Monday, where we're putting together our quizzes, and we're using loops to access those multiple choice questions as well as the correct answer. So we'll make a quiz, and that will kind of make all of this come together and click. So let's go over a couple examples together. And then I'm going to give you guys quite a bit of time to try this out. For my friends who wanted more time on the group challenge, feel free to also use the time that I'll give you in breakout rooms to revisit that. And you can also, you saw Alice and her group do that with their code. You can also see if you can incorporate loops into your earlier challenge as well. So just like Mario said, like, hey, I wish this was for earlier. Yeah. So that's how when we learn more, we can figure out how to optimize our code and we go through and we do more iterations, right? So feel free to also use that time. So I'll give you guys quite a bit of time after we go over our 6 examples to try this out. And this will probably take us to the end of class today. We'll see if we can get through any additional content, but that's totally fine if we push it back to next week because we have a lot of time to work on it. Okay, so let's go through it. So I'm going to do some more comments. All right, and I will give you this code if you want to review it before you go in breakout rooms. So, amazing. And thank you, Alice, for sharing that. And keep sharing your code because that's how we can all learn together. And if you didn't quite get a chance to check out folks' codes, like definitely check them out. Okay, so we're gonna go over a list with food. So give me some of your favorite dishes. What do you guys like for food? I'm just gonna keep it simple. Foods. Pizza, yes. Oh, I want pizza so bad. Burgers, sushi, beer, chicken. Okay, amazing. Awesome. Okay, so we got our foods, right? So let's say I wanted to output my food. I want to use a for loop. How do you think I'm going to approach that? What do you guys think? So I'm going to start with for. I can name it whatever I want, right? I can name each element whatever I want. What do you guys want to name it? Let's just name it, I don't know, food, item. Yeah, we'll just do food. And then what's my last little part? Mm-hmm. Amazing. So for food and foods. Awesome. Okay, now I want to print out the food. What do I do? Yeah. Oh, I love that interpolation. All right. So yeah, food is, and then we can just do food, right? Comma food. Love it. All right, so let's run it. And I'm going to comment this out. And let's see how it executes. Food is pizza, burgers, sushi, beer, and chicken. Amazing. All right, so we're iterating through. Again, just like I saw someone else type in the chat, item, you can totally do item. All right, do it. How do you comment all of that out at once? Yeah, so I know some folks are on different programs, so I need to research that. I think Erin, I gotta research yours. Usually on a Mac, it's command forward slash. When you highlight everything, you can do command forward slash and it does it like back and forth. For a PC, it should be control forward slash. But if you're on a different device, that's not working for some folks. Erin, can you type in the chat what system you're on again? I need to research that. Yeah, no worries. If it's not working for you, it should work for any IDE on your computer. Yeah, command forward slash on a Mac. Okay, I will look into that. If anybody else no is familiar with that as well, CLX PC, let me know. I did a quick search for you, Erin, and I think it's something with like you have this, but I know that's like a comment for, so if you want to try like the asterisks. Yeah, I thought that was JavaScript as well. I know there should be an easy way for you to do it, Erin. I'm sorry that it's like not working like it should. But yeah, if anyone comes up with anything, just let Aaron know so that way we can work on that together and it would make his life a lot easier, especially with working with while loops where you definitely want to comment that out. Okay, so wonderful. So we have our list with food. Now, Alice, I think, mentioned this earlier. So enumerate is super, super cool, and we can do this. Let me actually see. I think I had it up somewhere. I have all these tabs. I need to add more RAM to my computer. Let me know how many tabs you guys have open on your computer. Just curious. I think the most that I've seen someone type in the chat was like somewhere in the hundreds. 600 tabs? No way. Alice, you must have like RAM. I don't even know how much RAM you have on your computer to have 600 tabs. That is impressive. I just count. Yeah, I don't know how you count the tabs. I guess by hand. Oh, never more than five. That is the way to go, Mario. I feel like I get into like the 30s or 40s and then my computer RAM starts to slow down a little bit. I do have a Mac. I love Macs, but I should have gotten more RAM. Okay. So we do have this enumerate function. So it's really helpful for us to go through. And again, what's really nice about W3 schools is we can enumerate here. But notice that with this is actually called a tuple. We haven't gone over this yet. It's like a special type of list, but it's not editable. We'll probably get to it next week. It's not actually in the curriculum, but I think it is helpful. And you'll definitely like go over it during Code Platoon as well. Um, what do you notice about the way this enumerates? So we have apple, banana, cherry. We did enumerate. What did it start at? What did it start at with my output? Yeah, it started with the index. It started at 0, right? And we know that's not counting numbers. We don't want to start at 0. That makes it sound silly, right? So we have to modify that a little bit. So there's something called a start. All right, so it is iterable, and we can use a start. And if we set that to a number, like we can start at number 1, it can help us. So let's actually do that here, and we're going to do that for our list with food. So we're going to do the same thing, but in this case, we are going to iterate, and we can actually use the index keyword to actually take the index, but we're going to start at 1. So let's actually go through what this looks like. So let me go over here. I'm going to comment this one out, and I'm going to put in enumerate. Enumerate. So we're going to do for index. Okay, and then we can also do what we did before where we just named food. All right, so we're targeting both the index and we're targeting food. And then we just use in. And then what we're going to do here is we are going to do the enumerate, all right, because we are going to target what we're iterating through, right? So whatever's iterable. And then we're going to do start. Okay, so let's do that. So in enumerate, and then we're going to take foods, and then we're going to do comma start, and we want to start at 1. Okay, so hopefully everyone is tracking. So we're taking the index, we're taking the food, and we just assign it for food again. We can assign an item, whatever we want. We're using enumerate, so we're going through the list of food, but this time we're starting at 1 and not 0, because we want to use our natural numbers, right? So we can do this where we just output our index. So we print, we can do index, we can do a dash, or we can do a colon if you'd like, and then we could do food. All right, so let's actually try that. Let's see what outputs. All right, so here we have our list, and we have pizza, burger, sushi, beer, chicken. And again, the start is going to change how this starts our list off. No, why? Of course. Didn't you run into that as well? Why did it do that for me? All right, pivot, pivot, pivot. I know, logged in and everything. What the heck? Why does it do that? All right, pivoting, pivoting. Sorry, 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 sorry. I will still write the code there, but I'll at least show the output in good old my compiler. Not trying to switch between both of them. I'm very sorry to do that, but I wanted you guys to see this. All right, so let's run it here. All right, and you can see that when we start at 3, right, it's going to start at 3. So let me do a temperature check. 1 to 5, where are you guys at with the for loops? All right, so knowing that I can name this whatever I want, I could do item, I could do food. When we want to enumerate, remember we target the index, and then we can target whatever we want to name the item. We use enumerate. We do whatever our list is. So in this case, it's food. We can say where we want to start, where we want to count, and then we just print everything out. Okay, I'm seeing some 3s. Okay, that's good. That's good, y'all. This is tricky. So you guys are doing good. Yeah, so I'm gonna put that in your court, Mario. All right. I want you to research that. Can you enumerate a dictionary? When do you want to enumerate a dictionary? Because this is a list, right? Dictionaries store key and value. So when would it be helpful? I want you to think about that and I want you to research that, okay? So love that question. So research that and let us know. And let us know when a good scenario to iterate through, maybe enumerate a dictionary. So love that. Nick, you have a question? Go for it.
Might be getting ahead a little bit here. So, I see value in this, the enumerate function specifically. However, and again, might be getting too far ahead. What if I wanted to enumerate something that was like a document in like Microsoft Word, or like how do I like reference like another outside like document or something, or like let's say like unstructured data, or you know what I mean, where I just kind of want to get it. I kind of like want to reference a list that maybe not. I don't want to like hand jam pizza, burgers, and like the entire menu in here. I kind of want to reference some type of file.
Yeah, that's a super great question. Actually, part of your curriculum in Code Platoon goes over how to enumerate through files or how to like upload files and search through them. So I will give you some resources on that. I'm not going to cover that so much tonight, but I will give you some resources on that so you can tinker around and check that out. But that
All
is a
right,
yeah.
sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. That is a really great question. And again, you guys will, hopefully everyone does Code Platoon after this, sometime in the future. And you will definitely learn how to do that. You Googled it. Okay. Share the goods in Slack. Share it in Slack. Would love to see it. So love that. All right. Thank you, Mario. And yeah, Nick, I will also yes, good job, Alice. Also give you some resources on that, but if you also want to be curious and search that up, definitely search that up and share in Slack too, so we can keep learning together. So love that. All right, so I do want to get through the last 2 main ones, so that way you're set for what you guys are going to do for group time. All right, so we're going to get through dictionaries. All right, we're going to keep it super simple. There's so much that you can do. So I love the curiosity. Please keep it coming. And yeah, please keep it coming. All right, so let's do, again, I always go to students. I always go to grades for some reason. So let's do a dictionary of students and their grades. So can I have some brave folks in the chat just say, hey, what's an ideal grade that you've gotten, or what's a grade that you've gotten in the past? I'll type in your name as the key and I'll type in a grade. All right. Alice, 30. All right. Thank you for being brave. So Alice, we got Latoya. All right. 100. Love it. Joe got an 84. All right. Can I get a few more folks? Would love to have like 5. Mario, 12. All right. And then let's do anybody else? 120. You got like super bonus points. I know. Latoya's like side, like looking at that. Okay, yeah, we'll do it 120. So let's say you got bonus points, extra credit. All right. So We have our amazing students and their grades. So let's say we just want to print out the students, right? So, anyone want to take a stab at how we would do this? Could I do it the same way as the list? What do you guys think? Yes or no? Yeah, like for the dictionary. Exactly. Look at how we did this right here. Good job, Itzel. Yeah, and I can do it the same way as we did in the list too. So, let's do it. All right. So we're going to do four. Name it whatever you want. For person, student, etc. in students. And I just want to print out the students. So what would I print? I'll put a little comment here, print out students. Oops. So I can just print person, right? Print person, and then again, because JDoodle is being difficult, we're gonna have to go over here. All right, so let's run it, and I'm going to just comment all of this out. So there we go. We have our wonderful students, Alice all the way to Mark, and we can just print out the students. All right, so let's say we want to print out their grades. So what is that going to look like? So print out their grades. And take a look at this one above, right? With the dictionary one, right? Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. And so how would I print out their grades? Yeah, we could do for num in students. Okay. Now, if I want to target the values, is there a way for me to target the specific values? Well, yeah, I could do print and I could do, what is it? Students. And I could try num, right? Because that's going to target the key, which will give me the value. And I'm just going to paste this into my compiler. Thank you for your patience with that. All right. And when we run it, we now have their grades. So 30 to 120. All right. Now there is another way, and I think someone typed this in the chat. We could do dot value. So Alice, where do you think we would add the dot value in at? Yeah, that's right. So here's another way that we could do it, and very good, Alice. So we could do dot values here, and instead of printing students num, again, it does the same thing. So whatever like best clicks for you, we could do the same thing here, and we could just print out the num, right? Because we're targeting the values. So when we do that, it should look like this. And we should see double, which we do, right? We see 30 to 120, 30 to 120, double, double. Okay, so again, there's always more than one way to do this. All right, temperature check, 1 to 5, where are folks at with understanding how we target things in dictionaries based on the key, based on the value. There's more than one way to target the value. It's just up to you what you want to use. Okay, I see that we're at some 4s, some 3s. If you're someone at the lower end, like a 2 and a 1, maybe you didn't type in the chat, no worries. just know, take some time to let it set, and that's totally okay. Yeah, it's totally okay. Just know that these can be interchangeable. We decide on that because I think that's where students get confused. We're just kind of saying for item, whatever we want, for person, for number, for student, and then we just say in the collection, then we go through and it's going to iterate through and it's going to output what we want. All right, so let's print out both. So I did see someone type it in the chat earlier. All right, so we can use this items method, which can return the key value pair. So for example, and that's why I love W3 schools with this, try it. If we were to run it and we did car.items, it's going to return the key value pair together. So for example, brand Ford, the model is Mustang, and it's going to link them together. Yeah, Mario, try this out. So this would be a great time for enumerate. So maybe you do like Alice is the first student on our list, and then you have her score, and then Latoya, and then Joe, and then Mario, then Mark, right? So why don't you try that out? Love that. All right, so again, there's multiple ways that we can approach this, right? So for this one, we can actually, again, we can name, like, let's say student and score, right? So we want to print out, so print out both the student and their score. All right, so we can say for, and let's do student, comma, score. And we can do that in student. Okay, so this time though, we're going to use the notation dot items, all right, because we're going to target both of them. All right, and then we're going to print them out. So let's print it. So we can say student, and then comma, and we can say earned A. Actually, we don't have to worry about the spaces there. I forgot about that. And then we can do score. So let's actually see what that outputs. So print out student with their score. And I'm going to comment those out. So we see Alice earned a 30, Latoya earned a 100, Joe earned an 84, Mario earned a 12, and Mark earned a 120. Now, one of the things that you'll start to tinker around with, and this is actually one of your, if the curriculum is similar to when I went through the program, it's actually one of the challenges is you have to keep in mind like plurals, or like how like naming conventions, right? So because it's a vowel sound, like 80 is starts with like the eh, we would use an and. So here Joe earned an 84 versus Joe earned a 84. So I want you guys to start thinking about that, right? So yeah, it works logistically, it works, right? But how can we like clean it up so it works with the right grammar? So just start thinking about that. Don't want to stress y'all out. I know it feels like yeah, you could also do that as well. But there is going to be a challenge that you guys face where it has to do, I'll give you a hint, it has to do with F strings. But you will kind of tinker around with that a little bit and see how you can make that your own. All right. It will challenge you, but you'll learn so much because of it. Okay, so we went through and we did dictionaries and list. All right, we're gonna do one last thing with a conditional, and then it's gonna be your turn to try out. You have 3 challenges. You don't have to do all 3. If you're someone just wanting to tinker around with list, stick with list the whole time, right? That's totally fine. All right, So let's go back to our student example, right? So we're going to do here, we're going to say, okay, let's shout out students who earned at least a 90. So we're going to shout out Mark, we're going to shout out Latoya as well. So we're going to, let's see, shout out students who earned at least a 90. So I want to make sure I target the student and I target the score. And I think someone brought this up, maybe it was Alice, right? So if you notice that like some of your code is very similar, feel free to copy and paste versus writing it all out again. All right, so we have our selection, right? We're selecting student, we're selecting score, and we're using dot item. So we know to pair them together, right? So question for you all, what should I have next if I want to check if a score is greater than or equal to 90, and then I want to print out, hey, the student earned an A. Yes, I will share them, Mario. Thank you. Have a great evening. Yeah, I'm going to use an if statement. That's right. So let's do that. So we're going to use an if. And then I want to check if the score is greater than or equal to 90. That's right, Mario. So we're going to do score for our variable is greater than or equal to 90. And then what do I want it to print out? Well, I want to shout out the students, right? So let's print out student earned an A, right? We want to print out the amount. Now I also have the remaining students who may have not scored at least a 90. I don't have to include an else statement, right? So here I can actually run it just as it is, and we should just see it fall off, right? If it's not there. So let's actually do that. So we're going to do that right here. All right, so let's see here. Students who earned an A. Wonderful, Mario. Great job. Yeah, so we can see here that with our current loop, it went through and it found the two students, Latoya and Mark, who got at least a 90%, right? We don't have the other student showing up because they didn't meet the condition. So you technically don't need an else statement unless you want to just say, hey, the student did not earn an A. I mean, we don't have to put that. We can just shout out the students who did earn an A, right? Yeah, that's pretty much how this would work. So again, you're looping through the keys and the values and you have them linked together with this dot items. You're then checking the value with your conditional, and then you can print out the key, for instance, and give the user an output. So my last temperature check, 1 to 5, where are you guys at with understanding how we loop through list, dictionaries, and now by using conditionals? Okay, we're at like a 4. All right, awesome. If you're someone in the lower range, that's totally fine as well. If you are someone in the 1 or the 2, if you don't mind just staying behind, when we do go into groups, I just want to double check with you, make sure you're not running into any errors or just feeling like overwhelmed. I really want to make sure everyone like feels good about this. So just know that this is tricky. If it takes you longer, that's totally normal and totally okay. I know when I always like to try and think of when I was learning this and I was like, what is going on? So it does get better, it does get easier. I can assure you that. So let's see here. I'm going to share my link in the chat. So if you want to copy the code, it is tricky, 100%. But you guys are doing a great job. Look at all that you covered. You covered complex data types, conditionals, operators, and iteration in like 2 classes. What? So you guys are doing a great job. And you're remembering like F-string literals, interpolation, input. Like you guys are learning a lot. So don't let this overwhelm you. I'm going to just take a screenshot of this. You don't have to do all 3. If you're good with looping with a list, stick with it. Ask the user for an input too for extra practice and to remember that and using F strings, right? Remembering those F string literals. Again, that's extra. Don't have to do it. Keep it simple. So you're going to do favorite movies. You're going to create a list named movies with at least 5 movie titles of your choice. You want to use a for loop to print out each movie. And then after printing all the movies, you can print out movie list complete at the very end. All right. If you're not good with like having it print out at the very end, don't worry about it. Just print out each movie. That's totally fine. Then next challenge is take capitals. All right. So here's an example of some of them. Please add in your own state. Please add in more states. All right. Then you're going to use the dot items that we went over. Print each state in its capital in this type of format. The capital of Texas is Austin, right? So we went over that with outputting the students and their scores. Now the conditional, again, test scores. But we have these examples. So using dot items, student earned an A, student passed, student needs extra help. So feel free to try that out as well. I'm going to drop this in Slack. Please, at this time, if you're not on Slack, if you can please take a screenshot so you know what you need to do. I did drop my JDoodle link. All right, can you type in set in the chat if you guys are set, and if you need any help, just stay on here. But if you can type set in the chat if you are set, so I know that you're good. Okay, I see a couple sets. So that way you took a screenshot. All right, here we go. All right, beautiful. All right, breakout rooms. Let's see. I'm actually going to keep you guys in the same breakout rooms because it looks really even. So you'll work with the same folks if that's okay. Actually, no, I have to recreate it because I know some folks are dropping. Hold on one second. I'm going to do 4 breakout rooms. No, I got to do 5 because then that's 2. Actually, you know what? Let's do 4. That's fine. Latoya, let me move you. Hold on, Latoya. All right. Breakout rooms are open. Stay here if you need any help. Breakout rooms are open. I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you.
Oops, I
Thank
forgot
you.
to. Thank you. I
I just
forgot to
wanted to
start.
say I appreciate it. I tried to do I got all of them except for the last one, but I got a syntax error. No reason for anybody to stay. I'm super close. I'm just not quite there.
Do you want to
But it's
share
okay.
your screen? We can walk through it together. Totally fine. We actually
Yeah,
have a couple
it, to
minutes
be
early.
to be honest, it's probably something like super small. I know it's like a syntax or something. Let me see.
Okay, let's
Let me
take a
see
look.
this. I was trying to figure it out. Let me see. Game score.
Oh, it's just an
Um,
indentation issue. So on line 84 with the
mhm.
print, if you can tab that, perfect. One more, a little bit more. Or no, it has to be in line with the print above. Yeah. Okay.
To tab the 83 as well. Oh, he
Um,
has the backspace 81.
yeah, I think you have to backspace
81.
81. Yeah, backspace. Perfect. And then you're gonna do 85. And then tab 86. Yeah,
Killing
Python
me.
Python is very particular about indentations. That's not the case in all languages, but it is the case in Python. So try running it and it should work.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. One thing that if you notice here as well, I did my movie list, but it gave it back to me 5 times. Was that supposed to have? Is that the intended, or is it just supposed to give it to me one time?
Um, you did for list in movies and then oh, you printed out movies. Instead of movies, you should do on line 60, you should do list. Because you're saying here, like for list, you're calling each movie a list item. So you're calling it list. And then it should now just work with each movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly. That's all I needed. I appreciate you.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah, your code looks awesome. Looks really good.
All right. See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. All right, it's I see your hand up. What's going on?
Um, I had Taylor in the list of students was showing up twice. Let me share
Okay.
my screen. But then I saw it next code, and I guess if I did an elif here instead, that works and gives me only one Taylor. But what in this statement makes it so that I get two Taylors over here?
Oh, great question. So because you did if twice, remember it won't just do like if it's not an elif, it won't just stop at that if statement. Since there's another one, it will also evaluate that one and be like, oh, is this one also
Mm,
true? So
mhm.
because Taylor in your list is the only one that got an A out of 91, Taylor is caught twice by both the first if and the second
Mhm.
if. The
Right,
rest,
okay.
yeah, the rest of the students are caught by either the second or the else.
That makes sense. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Code is looking great. Looks really good. Yeah. All right.
Have a
Are
great night.
you?
Or
Yeah,
go ahead.
you too. Oh no, I was just checking if anybody else needed anything.
Okay, cool. See ya.
Yeah, see you. All right. Brandon, are you all set? You're out? Okay, bye, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you. See you. And then just checking in, Jason, you good? All right, Jason, I'm gonna end the meeting. Have a great one. Bye.